so.
If all the board members can make sure you have your microphones back on, we'll start the committee of the whole meeting. Okay, good evening again. The hour being 7:06 PM on Monday, May 9, 2022. I'd like to call to order the Brookfield Village Board Committee of the whole meeting. Bridget, can we have a roll call for the committee meeting, please?
Trustee Ketchmark?
Here.
Trustee Cote?
Here.
Trustee Hendricks?
Here.
Trustee Conroy?
Here.
Trustee Leclerc?
Here.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Here.
And President Garvey.
Here. Thank you, Bridget. We have two items under regular business, and then we'll public comment executive session. For the first item, I would just like to note for the record that Trustee Leclerc is going to recuse himself from any discussion on this committee item, and if there's a future vote, he will also recuse himself. He is present, but he will not be participating in the discussion at his request. We think he knows the applicant. So the first item is a discussion of a property improvement program grant request for 9138 Broadway, being Betty's Flowers. Emily, do you want to take the lead?
Sure, thank you. This is a request for funding for Betty's Flowers located in the Eight Corners TIF district at 9138 Broadway. This is for new wall signage as well as a new awning. Village would be reimbursing half, which is approximately $8,423. And then I did speak with the business owner and property owner about the roof sign, how that unfortunately doesn't meet the current code, and that there is an interest to keep that up from the business owner. So we would just work with the business owner to see that come into compliance through a zoning variation or whatever action the business owner would like to take, but that should be addressed at some point soon. And here are two renderings for the proposed signage and awning. I also have material samples here, and both the business owner and property owner are here tonight for questions, as well as Robert, from the Elevate Sign Company that's going to be doing the work. So both of those folks are available for questions.
Thank you, Emily. Betty, would you like to say anything? We're not going to put you on the spot, but would you like to say something? Or? Okay. I mean, and you don't have to say anything, but if you'd like, is there anything you'd like to say, Robert? Or?
No, I think Emily covered it pretty well.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any questions or comments related to the grant request?
So what's not in compliance? It's the sign up on the, above the awning, is that?
Correct, exactly.
Oh, that,
It's the roof.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the red, is what you see in red is part of the grant request, but there's the sign on the roof that kind of faces the other direction, I think is the issue that has to be addressed going forward, so.
Okay.
Does that variation have to be approved prior to the PIP program? Is that how that works?
Doesn't have to, I would work with the,
That's up to you.
yeah.
Do we have anything in the code that talks about how bright these signs can be? I assume, I can't remember, I'm sorry.
Yes, there are some illumination requirements. I can double check. My assumption is that that would absolutely meet the code. I can
Okay.
confirm that and double check, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. This new kind of more modern lighting has a better illumination standard.
I think it looks really nice. Thank you. Thanks for improving.
Yes, obviously it's an investment on your part, and been a long-time key business in the village, and we've been trying to promote this program, and we feel that each time we have a grant request and a completed project, that it's better advertising for the program. So this is the type of things that we kind of envisioned when we created the PIP program, so. There's no further questions from the board. We'll put it up at the meeting of the 23rd for a vote of the board. Thank you for coming out tonight. Appreciate it. The next item is a We have a draft ordinance to establish a Brookfield Economic Development Commission. We talked a little bit about this ongoing conversation at the last committee of the whole meeting. We asked for staff to bring forward recommendations specifically about the structure, organization, and kind of procedures for the Economic Development Commission, and that's what we have before us. Emily, you want to make any type of presentation, or?
Really, everything that was discussed previously at the committee of the whole still stands. There is one recommendation, now that we have the actual text amendment that would be voted on. That is in regards to the actual commissioners for the Economic Development Commission. Staff thought it might be a good idea to have a little bit of flexibility. So those same sectors, restaurant, real estate, service, they would still apply. But in case we don't have someone willing to be on this commission from one of those sectors, perhaps language in the text amendment to allow 2 at-large commissioners. So the hope is to get someone from each of these sectors, but if that's not the case, then 2 at-large commissioners would give a little bit more flexibility to make sure that this commission is completely occupied and we don't have any quorum issues.
That makes
I
sense.
think that makes sense. I actually didn't have any questions about the Economic Development Commission, more about the commissions that we've got on the books at the moment. They're listed out here. It seems like there are several that maybe aren't meeting, that we're not using at the moment. Is that correct? The one that I think concerns this moment is the Planning, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee. It seems like with that in our code, we've got some overlap with both the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Economic Development Commission. I wonder if we could take a second look at the commissions that are on the books and how many of them are actually active and necessary.
No, that's actually good, and we've talked about, going through, some of these are required by statute, others are past commissions, but that would probably be a future committee of the whole session, so we could specifically advertise and talk about that, but you are correct, there are commissions on there that do not maybe play a role, but some are also required by state statute, so I think that'll be a future committee of the whole session. Does anybody have any other questions or comments related to the Economic Development Commission?
So how would people interested in participating in the commission, how do they enroll or put their hat in the ring?
So that would be an application process. We can talk more about details, but ultimately the village board would appoint them. So we can talk about the application process and who exactly would see those applications and how it's advertised to the public.
Isn't it typical that it go to President Garvey?
Yes.
Yes.
I think we all, there's interested hopefully there's enough interested people, and there's some people that we might want to reach out to. And then, obviously, like any other appointment, we'd vet them through the village board. But, if the board chooses to adopt this plan and, we advertise what we're looking for, and then, there can be some reach out from myself and staff and board members and conversations about getting people on the commission.
Seems like it might be good to have a first deadline for interest, because if you want to get 9 and get people started and you need a quorum to begin, that people aren't just think they have until forever to maybe sign up and be considered for that spot. I mean, a lot of the other commissions are kind of, one person goes away, you're looking for one more, but when it's trying to fill the full thing, it might be worth saying an initial round of applications will be taken by a date. I don't know.
I mean, it seems, from what I'm hearing, there's a consensus that this is likely to pass. When we need to take action at the next board meeting to create this, and then after that, maybe we can advertise for members and publicize the need for members, and this actual conversation hopefully will generate some interest. Like I've been thinking, I know others have been thinking about people that we would like to be on the initial committee going forward. The only, I think, obviously we mirror this off other commissions and other bodies like this. And I like the idea, it's under the powers and duties of Section 2878 to submit to the Village Board of Trustees on or before January 15th each year, report on the economic state of the village. I really like that provision, kind of a state of the economic state where they present it to the village board. My only concern is the timing of it. It's, in order for them to, because I think it'd be a very important document and presentation that they basically be working on it or dealing with it right around the holidays at the end of the year. And I know it kind of matches our fiscal year and everything else, but I just wanted to throw it out there. We're asking volunteers to come forward and do this and kind of write a book report at the end of the year on Christmas vacation. I'm just throwing that out there, that if I understand we want it early in the year, but how does the board feel about making that, later in January, the first week of February, just so there's some time? Because, the people that are involved in this are business owners and hopefully have a very busy holiday season and things. That was my only suggestion.
Fine with that.
I think it makes good sense.
Say the end of January or February 15th to do it, turn it over by the board by February 15th, and then we could, address that at a committee of the whole meeting, maybe have a presentation.
That sounds fair.
Okay. Any other questions related to it? Otherwise, we'll put this up for the May 23rd meeting for adoption with the, the at-large members, language would be added in there. And then we'll say by February 15th, the state of the state report to the board. Okay. Well, thank you for the work on this also, and look forward to presenting this for a vote on May 23rd. At this point, I'll open the meeting back up to public comment. Is there anyone on the right side that wants to make any comments? Seeing none, anybody on the left side? CP?
Real quick, was thinking about the gentleman who came up and talked about aviation and planes flying overhead. I wanted to mention one thing real quick, that maybe he got his cage rattled this morning. There was a huge noise coming across right over my house this morning, and I didn't get outside in time enough to see what it was, but I heard him coming back maybe 15 minutes later, and I did get out in the back porch. There were two, I want to say, Sikorsky 1950s models, looked like a bumblebee with slab sides, helicopters that I didn't think were still flying, frankly, because they were replaced by UH-1s when I was in Vietnam 50 years ago. But the other thing was there were two of the Ospreys, the new V-22 that are being used to resupply aircraft carriers and all sorts of other functions. They're a real fancy marine thing that can fly much faster than a helicopter can still land vertically. Right. But boy, they make a racket. You don't sneak up on anybody with those. And it was probably rattling the guy's teeth this morning. We don't have any 737s flying over at 200 feet, in spite of what he says.
But they are flying low above my head.
Yeah, they are, but I think that's why these four aircraft were flying so low, because they're coming by the landing areas of Midway Airport, and they're staying down low enough that they're not up there messing with the other planes flying by, the commercial aircraft. But I could not see any markings. It was the funny part. They were all sort of painted olive drab and that. And that'll do.
No, and I just want, it's for the record, that was CP Hall. I just said CP approach, but no, I was in court all day, but I had heard some chatter on Facebook. Was there a visit in town today
Not that I know of, but
okay.
But village managers and neighboring towns are getting complaints too. So
okay.
I think it really is a combination of, it is the wind that dictates how the planes land. I did go on the website today. They're about 1,000. The Southwest airline flies from about 1,000 feet above Brookfield when they come over, and they do come right over Brookfield. And I think it's a combination of everybody's windows are open now because it's nice out. People are noticing. I see these all winter long. Every once in a while, depending on, I see these planes when they're coming over Brookfield. And when it's cold outside and windows are shut, nobody knows it.
No, definitely, I'm hearing it. You should come out to Lexington Avenue, it is.
There has been more flights in the past couple of days.
Directly overflow.
It happens, and there, I think, I did believe that I heard that there might be a presidential visit coming on Wednesday, so there might have been some movement back and forth related to that. I believe he's visiting Kankakee or something, so that could have been related to that. But as was pointed out earlier, there has been an increase in the number of flights, specifically the past couple of days. The resident who approached does live down the street from me. The estimate of how high they were, I'm not going to estimate, but as we pointed out, he can go to the Chicago Aviation site and point that out. That's not something we can regulate. But I think maybe what you saw could possibly be related to an upcoming presidential visit on Wednesday, so.
I would mention one other thing real quick that has always bothered me about this issue, and that is Midway Airport, the direction in which they come in is dictated by O'Hare. O'Hare's got these huge, long, just relayed runways, and Midway is on one city block or something like this. It's bigger than that. But they've got tiny runways by comparison, but they are only landing like 737s and smaller planes. But I still am sort of amazed that the tail is sort of wagging. The guys with all the capacity to work around this are dictating to the smaller airport in our area.
They're probably all Cubs fans.
And all night, I can sit there and watch them out my front window going by on the south, say over LaGrange, and they come around and come over Riverside, I think, and go into Midway. That happens a lot too. That's a standard pattern that's more often being used.
Thank you, CP. Anyone else on my left side with any public comment? Okay, hearing no public comment, at 7:22 PM, I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees.
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Conroy, second by trustee Leclerc. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Cote?
Aye.
Trustee Hendricks?
Aye.
Trustee Conroy?
Aye.
Trustee Leclerc?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion
Okay,